I am Verna Smith, and this is Caribbean Roundtable. Today, my guest is attorney Johnnie Cochran. Most of us have come to know the attorney because of the O.J. Simpson case, but in truth and in fact, he has been practicing law for more than 40 years. He has written a new book, his second, Johnnie Cochran, A Lawyer's Life, in which he talks about the law, his life, and how he has won. You should know that, as I said, I became familiar with his work when he said, if the glove does not fit, you must acquit. But he has worked with Amadou Diallo, he has worked on the Darius Man case, the Abdul case, the New Jersey Four, among others. So today I'm here to ask him how he has been able, with all of this happening in our community and with our daily lives, he has been able to make an impact on the American judicial system. Attorney Johnnie Cochran, welcome to Caribbean Roundtable.
Thank you. It's my pleasure being with you.
I just want to say how grateful I am that you've taken this time to talk to us, because I read the book and it is certainly fascinating and compelling. And I hope that our viewers will go out and get a copy of the book because they need to read it. But my first question to you, as I said, you have been in law for 40 years. Many of us only became familiar with you through the O.J. Simpson case. So why was it important for you to write this book at this time? And what is it that you want to relate to us?
Well, I think that it was important for me to write that book, A Lawyer's Life, because there were so many cases, there were so many battles that I had fought over the course of my career. And it's an intimate kind of memoir of my life really in court. And I thought it was very important to tell the story from the very beginning of how I started out in criminal law and then kind of segued into, with some resistance, into civil law, and how I wanted to be the first lawyer ever to be able to try both a death penalty murder case and get $1 million verdict, and I was in Los Angeles. And there were a lot of standards that I wanted to set. I wanted to set the bar and change the bar for those coming behind me. And this book talks about all those things. It also talks about some of the things that I see that are important, like the battle for reparations, battles that I have yet to come that we're involved in, the battle with the NFL coaches, trying to get more people of color into coaching in the NFL, where 70% of the players are black, but only like 5 or 6% of the coaches, 3 out of 32 now. And so this book is kind of a look at all of my career, how I evolved, how I got to this point, and that it didn't just start with Simpson, and that there was a career before Simpson and a career after Simpson.
That's clear. So at this point, I need to ask you, as I said, from what you've said in the book and what has been related in your cases, you said your strategy most times is to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I'm sure for those of us who work on projects, we might make an attempt to do that, but that alone could not have been the bedrock of your success. I feel that it has been. So what part is personality and preparedness and know-how played into all of that?
Well, I start with something fairly simple. All of my life, I've had this sign in my office that says the 3 keys to success are: 1, preparation; 2, preparation; 3, preparation. First of all, you can't let anyone outwork you, so you've got to work hard. There's no doubt about it. And I suppose that your persona, your personality, or your whole charisma plays a role from a standpoint of advocacy, but you've got to be prepared. You have to know the subject matter, whether it's criminal law, civil law, transactional law, whatever. You've got to believe in what you're doing. You have to have a certain passion and belief in what you're doing. And for me, I keep God at the center of my life. In everything I do, I keep God first. And then I can do anything I feel but fail.
So you're faith-based, believing that if you can do it and you have...
Faith-based and hard work, and if you put those two together, that's a winner. That's a real winning combination.
Wonderful. Now let us move on to, as I said before, you started out in civil law, and you...
In criminal law.
In criminal law, and moved over to the civil side, and now you're known as a personal injury lawyer. Yes. Now, what does it take to make an impact on the American judicial system in terms of what you're doing now?
I think you have to, you have to have the cases. I think that we can, throughout my career, and that's one of the things I talk about in the book. In Los Angeles, we would always have these battles. We would have young African-American men and Hispanic men being killed by the LAPD through the use of the chokehold. So I got a case, I took a case, and I was able to demonstrate to the LAPD that they were improperly trained, and that's why these young people were losing their lives in 1982. So not only did I represent the client who lost his life or his family, I was able to then stop them from using the chokehold in 1982. And to this day, 21 plus years later, there have been no more deaths from the use of the chokehold, or the hog tying procedure, or any number of things where we've talked about use of deadly force. So what I try to do is that, Thurgood Marshall is my idol. I tried to use the law to change society and correct inequities for the better. In Avenue Loima, for the first time in this country, we successfully sued the PBA, the Patrolmen's Benevolent Association, because we thought that they were all representing, they only had one law firm representing everybody. We tried to bring about some change in that case, and we're always looking to bring about change.
And that was the first time anybody even thought that
to do that. And we have not been, I have this, I like to think I'm hopefully a visionary, and myself and my partners, Peter Neufeld and Barry Scheck, we see things that never were, as they say, and say, why not? And that's what we try to do. And
so you've successfully worked, as I said, on those two cases that were your starters, so to speak, as a personal injury, and you have worked on Diallo case, the Loima case, the Darius Man case,
right.
And what is the status of the Darius Man case as we speak?
Well, I'm real proud of the Darius Man case. As we speak, we just settled the case, no more than 2 weeks ago. We resolved the case with the city of New York for all of our plaintiffs, and we got some closure for them. Unfortunately, you can only deal with money in these situations. We could not bring Mr. Darius Man back. He had some beautiful young children and a marvelous mother and father, and not to mention his sister. We hopefully have brought attention to what happened to him. He just said no to drugs and ended up being shot. It was an unfortunate case. We asked to have criminal charges filed, but the U.S. Attorney's Office and the DA's office have not done that. But we did what we could do. We brought an action and recovered substantial money damages for his children and for his family. Substantial.
Where do we go from here? There are certain of us, as I said, feel that while you are doing a wonderful job, we are still, it seems as if we're still closed, we're still outside of the system. We're fighting our way in, but we are still so far away from where we want to be. In terms of your impact on the American judicial system, what else should we be doing?
Well, I think that all of us have to play a role. I really do, because you're right. Very often, it's been said, we're exiles in our own land. We're kind of outside the mainstream of what's happening. And that comes from, all the centuries of slavery and then second-class citizenship and where we are now. So we have to constantly battle to make and have our voices heard. I think one of the things we have to do is to become active in our communities. Number one, we've got to register to vote and then go out and vote. When we call for a jury, we have to go serve on a jury. Somebody in the justice system needs somebody who looks like you or I to participate in the process. And so we got to be participants. And when we see something wrong, we got to have the courage to speak out and to speak up and to bring about change. And elect people who share our vision of America, a vision that's fair and one that gives everybody a fair shot and a fair opportunity. So I think those are some of the things we can do. And then part and parcel of that, we have to prepare ourselves. Because what we want to do is we want to be able, when the door of opportunity swings open, to walk through that door and take advantage of it. So it won't avail us to break down all these walls and then have the opportunity and then not be prepared. So we on our own have to become prepared. So because education is the key. Knowledge is power. Not power to dominate others, but power to control our own destinies.
Wonderful word. As you said, power to control our own destinies. Reparations. I have read where you have been active in working with those who are looking into reparations. There are people who say, what do we expect? Not even an apology some of us should get, but we are saying that like other groups who have felt that they have been dealt with a certain way, we should be asking for something. Why are you a part of this?
Well, I think that what we've tried to do, and when I say we, I'm talking about myself and the lawyers that I'm privileged to serve with, and our leaders are Charles Ogletree, the Harvard Law professor, and Randall Robinson, who wrote the book, The Debt. What we tried to do, quite simply, is to reinitiate a conversation that began 137 years ago at the time of the Emancipation Proclamation, where promises were made to African freed citizens, never kept. And this country was built on the backs of slave labor. Nobody's been held accountable. Nobody's been responsible. What we've done is something unique. People always say, well, there are no slaves left. All the slaves are dead. Well, we went out and filed suit about a month ago now for the Tulsa race riots in 1921. And I'm here to tell you, Verna, that we have more than 120 clients, all between the ages of 82 and 102, who are still alive, can tell you about how the white community came in, deputized, and destroyed the black community, killing more than 300 people. And even a reparations commission out there said these people are entitled to recover, and they haven't done anything about it. So we filed suit for all of them. And we have an urgency about it because everybody's, as I said, between 82 and 102. And one of our lead plaintiffs is John Hope Franklin.